I'm Janice Moen, and I'm Autumn's mom and guardian, and we are from Mosby, Wisconsin.
Autumn Moen,
Chad Easker, live in Mosby, and I will be Autumn's angel. Okay, so after we got back from Hawaii, the crew that had went over there, we had still gone out and we were kind of reminiscing like we always do every time we get together and talking about, talking about each day and talking about the whole experience. And the biggest question that we always get asked is, what are you going to do next? Like, what's the next thing? And it was almost one of these things where we had to top what we did. So we started talking about it. We just said, hey, what about something around Wisconsin? And we wanted to try to basically make it all about Wisconsin because of all the support we got, and the community around here was, outstanding. And it was something that, Jen Smolt, I think when we first signed up for Epic 5, she said, you guys got to make this you got to make this more public. Like, people want to hear about this. And I didn't understand it at first. I was like, well, why would anybody care? Like, it's just kind of my own challenge, I thought, or just our group. And she's like, no, people want to hear about this, and it exploded. I mean, it just went crazy, and it was one of the reasons that we wanted to do something else, like Northern Souls 1000, was to get the community back involved again. It was always a positive thing, and everybody kept commenting on that, oh my gosh, what you're doing is so inspirational, and this kind of stuff. So we wanted to basically do it again and try to get people more involved. I mean, we had people coming up to us saying, because of you, I signed up for my first race today. Because of you, I did this or I did that, and it was neat to hear that kind of stuff. So we thought, what the heck, let's do it. The Northern Souls Challenge is actually 7 iron distance triathlons in 7 days all around Wisconsin. We're going to be starting on September 3rd, and it starts in Minocqua. And the reason we chose Minocqua was a place that I kind of grew up in the summertime. I always spent all my summers up there. And my parents currently live up there now, so we're going to take off from their lake and make our way kind of all over the place. We added a few extra miles on to bring it to that even 1,000, just so we could say, it was the 1,000 mile challenge. And so, let's see, after we do the start in Minocqua, we're actually going to end that day. We'll do the swim at actually Lake Shishibagama. We'll do the bike from my parents' house down to the Weston Y, the Spires YMCA. And then we're going to run from there up to Rip Mountain. And we're going to team up with my team Triumph again and Nicolay Bank. And we will be doing a 5K, hosting a 5K up there that everybody's welcome to participate in. So yeah, that'll be day 1.
Yeah, and then every day after that.
And every day after that, day 2 is actually going to take off from the Rosholt Lions Camp. I don't know if you're familiar with that place at all, but it's a very, very, very nice facility out there. And it's one of my places that I always take people to when we're on training rides. I always stop out there, and Andrea Yenter is a good friend of mine that she runs the Lions Camp, and she always welcomes us when we're there. We always fill up with water. A lot of times she's like, hey, we're having breakfast, sit down and eat. You just feel when you go there, it's just a really cool experience because you get to be with all the campers and everything that are out there. It's a really, really neat place. So when we started talking about this, I said that's one place that I'd like to do one of our swims at. And when I talked to her about it, she said, absolutely, bring it on. So we are doing that on day 2 morning, swim there. From there, we're going to go north out of Rosholt and kind of just make the tour around by Iola, and end up back at the Lions Camp. And then from there, we're going to do the run from there back to my house here in Mosinee. So that'll be nice. We get 2 nights of sleep at our own houses and stuff. And day 3 morning starts here right at my house with a swimmer here at the pond. And so we're hoping to get like a big group of people from the Y that I work out with every morning. We're hoping to get a lot of participants out here and joining in. And when we leave here on the bike, we'll actually take off and go up to Green Bay. We'll take some different routes, head that way, and we'll do our run there. We're going to meet up with my team Triumph in Green Bay. It's kind of what we're hoping for, and finish our run up there with them. The next morning is going to be in Door County. There's going to be a lake. We're going to be swimming in there, and we take off from that lake and we head over towards Elkhart Lake. and we'll be doing the run, finishing up the run around that area. And of course, the next morning we will swim in our Elkhart Lake and actually make our way on the bike down to Lake Geneva. And that will be day 6 swim. We'll be in Lake Geneva, and then head over and meet up with my friend here, Autumn, for Ironman Wisconsin. And the night of the Saturday night will be of day 6. We're actually going to run around Lake Monona twice. That's kind of like the half Ironman loop that they do. So we're going to do that twice to finish up our marathon that day, and then wake up bright and early to go see this smiley girl and start our morning there. Okay, so final day is going to be Ironman Wisconsin, and when I had originally brought up this whole challenge about creating a 7-day event, Keith Rieger is a friend of mine that he was one of the volunteers at Epic 5, and he came over last summer and stayed for a week and visited. And when I was telling him about what I was thinking about, and I took him up to a training run up in Rim Mountain, and he was absolutely inspired by, you know, all of the captains, all of the angels, all of the parents, everybody that's involved with that. And he just couldn't quit talking about it, and just said, what a neat organization. And he's like, why don't you incorporate that somehow into Northern Souls? He's like, why don't you see if you could do day 7 as an angel? And I was like, that's an awesome idea. So then of course I reached out to Christian right after that, and I think your words were, I think you're crazy, but I love it. So we've been talking ever since. Yeah, right?
Well, Autumn's preparing by standing in a stander 1 hour a day, which is something that is not her favorite thing to do, but she needs to get enough strength to be able to tolerate an entire day. And she is sitting more in her wheelchair so that she would be able to be in a wheelchair for all the number of hours that it's going to take for the event from morning till night. Those are kind of the things she's doing. And one of the other things she's doing is encouraging other people to start running or walking or whatever so that they can do it. And I think she talks about it a lot, talks about it an awful lot. What else are you doing?
I'm trying to drink enough.
Yes, yep, she has to get enough fluids in and be able to hydrate and stay hydrated for the day. Because we tried a half Ironman one day, or a half marathon it was, and she got dehydrated from the heat.
90 degrees.
Yeah, and so she realizes now that she needs to take in more fluids when she's participating.
Sure. Yep. So preparing from a nutrition standpoint and being able to do that. Chad, how about you? How do you even train to do 7 Ironmans in 7 days?
Well, we're using, Nick is actually the mastermind. He was kind of the one who did my training plan for Epic 5. And we reached out to him again and, you know, said, would you be a part of it? He said, absolutely. So he's been putting together training schedules for me. He basically gives me like a week's worth of workouts, what he wants me to do. It's been a little more challenging this time, just basically because summer is busy. And so there's some really, you know, instead of having exactly times, I'm going to meet people at 5 o'clock at this time and we're going to go do this, I'm throwing, you know, bike rides in sometimes at 3:30 in the morning and going till 7 a.m. just to try to get used to being on the saddle, get used to, you know, uncomfortable times, stuff like that. It's been challenging. I did the Ultraman challenge again this last year, so I never really quit training. Like ever since Epic 5, I just kind of stayed in that mode. So we're cutting back on. I think we peaked at 32.5 hours of training when I was doing the Epic 5 challenge, and we're going to cut back. It won't be that aggressive, but it's just a lot of time on the bike. I went out last Tuesday. I took the day off of work, and I wanted to just see how I could do 112 miles pulling a cart.
Yeah.
So I threw a bunch of weight in the cart, took all my tools out of my toolbox, you know, threw that in a bag, threw a whole bunch of stuff in there, and all my food and hydration for the day, and took off and went, and it was good. I actually slept better that night, knowing that okay, I can do 112 miles under the 9-hour cutoff that they have at Ironman. It's going to be close, but I'm thinking we're going to be able to pull this off.
Good, great. And let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you guys anticipate throughout the whole experience.
Well, I
Autumn,
think-
you want to start?
Yeah, I think that Autumn's biggest challenges is going to be able to tolerate that much time in a cart. So Chad and Keith have been, have taken her out on runs and things like that. And then they stop at the pit place and afterwards, so that has become Autumn's new place to go. But I think the challenge is for her to be able to trust everyone who is part of her team. And she has been learning that. She's been training with my Team Triumph on the regional level and been at every practice, and a lot of them are taking her out also. So, but her biggest challenge is going to be making sure that she tells people when she's uncomfortable, that she talks to people and she trusts people with her life is basically what she's doing. And I think she's at that point, I know she's at that point with Chad, that she feels very comfortable with him, and I think she feels that way with the team that is going to be with her and her support staff. And that's something that she's been working on for a long time in her life. And it's really neat to see that she has coordinated that for this event.
So Autumn, it sounds like going through this experience has helped you kind of learn how to communicate and trust people a little differently. Is that right? Talk about that.
I used to be quiet. Well, not really quiet. I just want to tell other people what I need. I would just wait for Mom to come. And but then,
Like with your staff now, you tell them
Yeah.
when they're supposed to be doing something. She used to just wait until I got home and then say they didn't do it. And now she'll say, Mom's gone and I would like to go to bed, so you'll have to get me into bed, where she used to just wait. And I think the training for this has given her that the unbelievable independence to be able to tell people what it is and not feel that anybody is doing it just because they have to. Even at training, I don't lift her in and out of the cart. The other angels do that, and that took her a while to get used to, but it's a good thing because she puts her trust in, and that is so important in life, not just for running, but it's important for her on a daily basis to know that she's got people there on her team.
Yeah. Sounds like she's developing more of a self-confidence in being an advocate for what she needs, and
Right.
that she can be self-sufficient in some ways, and right?
Yeah. And I think that she's learned, even like when we were by the physician, one of the physicians is concerned, which she normally would be, and she said something to Autumn, and Autumn said, well, we'll just, if something happens, we'll deal with it afterwards. And that, that's the new attitude of Autumn. I'm going to try this, I'm going to reach my goal, and if something happens while I'm doing it and it doesn't happen, well, at least I tried,
Yeah, awesome.
type thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Gotta give it a try. That's very cool. That's great. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
and then the practice, one of the challenges that I will have is the swim part, because I the first time I tried it, I felt kind of like I was gonna go this way.
Right, the balance part of it, the balance part. Her concern is the swimming part, Chad's concern more is the biking part, and neither one of them cares about the running. They'll get that part done, but I think their biggest one is Autumn has to learn to trust herself in the raft, that she'll be able to right herself if she needs to be.
Sure.
And she's working on that. We tip her over a little bit so that she has to right herself back up and things like that.
Develop your core strengths and
Yeah.
how to be able to do that. That's great. That's
Yeah,
great.
we're doing even like not just raft training. Last weekend we had a race up at Tibbs Hill, and they invited us to do a kayak race with them. And heck yeah, let's do it. It was the first thing I said as soon as they contacted us and said, hey, would you guys want to come and do a race, because we'd love to have you there. And called her up, and she said, yeah, let's do it. Why not? So we jumped in a kayak, and she did perfect. And yeah, so
That's fun.
nothing we can't overcome, right?
That's fun. I
Yeah,
love seeing the
Autumn has the
adventures.
trust in Chad. I don't always have the trust in Chad. I said, maybe we should strap her in or do something in
Nope.
case it tips and she can't right herself. And Chad said, Mom, just walk away.
Well, it's neat
Go
that
to
you
the
guys have that
transition area, we'll be
relationship
fine.
where I imagine you didn't feel like you had that comfort to be able to say that to mom initially, right?
Right,
You
probably
know,
not. Yeah, I probably would have took her advice. No, I'm like, I know what we need to do here. We got this handled.
We're good.
Yeah.
And that must have been hard for you too.
No, it
to
wasn't,
be
because
able
he
to-
knows, I don't know anything about kayaks, and I never thought that if
Sure.
you strap somebody in and they tip over,
That'd be a
he
bad
can't
thing.
help her.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But is it hard for you to see, Chad and these other people to be able to, take Autumn and you being very hands off for hours on end?
At the beginning it was, but I have really known that we are blessed to have my team Triumph as part of our team. And Autumn and I are working on independence so that she can become some more independent. But going with my team Triumph, as with the other girls, I see how everybody they're more doting on the girls and the other captains than I am. I mean, I just say, well, this is what it is, but they figure out things to make it easier for everyone who's a part of it. And I think that the trust that Autumn has gotten with all of these people is just phenomenal, because she didn't have that kind of trust before. So, and the inclusion that we have been seeing, we moved into the Mosinee community 2 years ago, and we haven't quite fit in because we had lived in Marshfield all the time. The other day when I was somewhere, everybody said, hi Autumn, because they train in Mosinee sometimes. Nobody knows who I am, but they all know Autumn. So, she's pretty independent and pretty well known in the community, and I think that's great for you, don't you?
Because I actually have a volunteer job at the school, and half of the teachers, not all the teachers, but some of the teachers, know who I am because they see me and I'm riding around.
Riding around town. And they also know about Crazy Chad, right? Because that's what Autumn calls him, is Crazy Chad. So.
Yeah, you kind of labeled me on that one, yeah.
We're all crazy here. All of you guys
I know.
are crazy. Okay,
I know.
let's just say that. Let's just say
I'm not
that
singled out
that.
here, yeah.
Chad, quickly, what are some of the challenges that you are expecting?
Challenges. Well, there's always weather. Being in Wisconsin, there's always weather. 2 weeks ago it was so hot you couldn't stand it, and today it's cold. You'll be out there with gloves if I'm on a bike. Some of the challenges too. There's always going to be logistical challenges as far as during the 7-day event. Are we going to get to some of these roads, and the roads are under construction, and what are we going to do that? But personally, I'm always pretty much at ease with that because my crew worries about that more than I do, and they're always on top of it. Some of the other things, as far as trying to get in the training, you don't know. I mean, you don't know what's enough. You don't know what should I have done more? Should I have done more running? Should I have done more biking? Should I have done more swimming? The unknown is probably, that's always scary. And, come day 7, I mean, that's my number one goal out of this is we just got to get to that finish line on day 7. I cannot wait. And I mean, I'm looking forward to the whole experience, but I mean, Nick told me that he said, that might be the only day in this entire time that we've been together doing races and doing challenges that might be the only day where I'm going to tell you have to step it up. He said, because it could be getting down to the wire on cutoff times, and that had me pretty nervous until I went out and did that practice ride the other day. That's why I just said I just got to do this, and felt better about it. But there's so many variables to this thing, mechanics, bike mechanics stuff. There's, I've been riding the same bike now for many years, and the stuff that this thing has been through. The guys at the bike shops, it's there right now, getting tuned up and stuff, and they said they can't believe the thing still rolls after what, all the miles it's put on, and the travel. I mean, just the travel between all the states and everything that we've done. They said it's a miracle, but keep going.
Yeah, awesome. Talk about your team. I mean, you got a whole squad of folks that, you know, have been with you for a lot of these other crazy events, and then
Yeah.
getting ready and helping behind the scenes.
Oh my gosh, there's so much behind the scenes that I guess people don't even understand. You know, everything from like the training plan, like we talked about with Nick. Tina's been a part of all of this, like all my Team Triumph stuff. She's been a part of, you know, all the fundraising that goes into this, because it isn't cheap. She's helped out with that tremendously. Jen and Scott, that like the whole thing with the Epic 5, they knew all the islands, they knew all that kind of stuff. I mean, they came involved, and you know, Nick Bradfish, as far as, you know, always telling me, it's like, I will get you there, you just have to trust me. And I always did. We had Champ, we have Karen, you know, Champ is Nick's dad, Arlen Bradfish. They've always been there, you know, and always been at these things. It's just, there's so many people, Scott Smolt, and I'm trying to think of who else. Keith Dupree, he's been huge with social media, just outstanding. I mean, the guy comes up with crazy things that nobody else thinks about, that, you know, says, hey, let's go do this. This is going to get some publicity out there, and this is going to help, you know, help for that, you know, help for the whole cause here. And there's tons of people. I mean, there's too many even to list. And I mean, hopefully people check out our page and they can just see all the people that are involved, because there's just so many people. You know, WAOW, all the stuff that they covered, and but everybody's kind of got that knack. I mean, everybody's got that thing that they help contribute with, and even though it may not be, you know, most of these people aren't looking for any type of, you know, hey, me, look at this, I'm doing this. They're not at all. You know, they're all about, everybody's really humble, and they just want to stay behind the scenes of this and just make, you know, the Northern Souls and my Team Triumph stuff, you know, successful. So it's been outstanding. I can't imagine life without them.
That's awesome. I mean, personally, just seeing it from my perspective, that's been one of the cool things that I've observed. It's just, you know, you may have some of these crazy ideas. I imagine that some of the ideas are influenced by the rest of the squad as well. But just to have the group of people to say, hey, yeah, we want to get behind you, and, you know, we're going to work, you know, in these various capacities to see that, you know, this campaign is successful, to see that Autumn is going to be an Ironman, and to have her go through that experience. That must be so humbling for you to just know that all these people are just like, yeah, you know, I want to be part of it in that way. And
it is. It's overwhelming. I mean, it's hard to even talk about, because, you know, like I said, there's so many moving parts to this that I have zero credit with. I mean, I'm just going out there and doing what they're telling me to do. That's literally what my job is here. The rest of it, I mean, people will ask me, well, what roads are you going to be on? I mean, I don't know. Scott knows every single detail. He knows every turn. He knows everything about this, and I just go out there and they tell me what to do, and I do it. It's a well-oiled machine that just keeps going. It's pretty cool.
That's great. That's great. Let's talk a little bit about that finish line, okay? Just kind of put yourself in you know, you've gone through these 6, mostly 7 days of this challenge, you know, for you, Chad, for you, Autumn, and Mom, and the rest of the squad. So many miles, 999.9 miles, or whatever it'll be at that point. And, you know, if you could just picture, you know, being at that finish line and seeing all those people and have them cheering for you, you know, and being inspired and moved, how is that gonna feel?
Well, I invited my cheer friends, but they're probably not gonna stay for the finish line, because that's a long time.
But how are you going to feel?
Good.
You think it'll be a little emotional?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you think
Very
you
proud.
feel as, do you think you feel as good as when Chad asked you to be his Iron Woman?
That was pretty cool.
Squealing and hooting and hollering?
Yes.
Awesome. Mom, how are you gonna feel?
You know, I've thought about this. I'm not a crier at all, and I will be bawling. I know I will be. I think that we have been the most blessed family around. We have surrounded, people say, how can you do this with all of your girls? Because I surround myself with people who care about the girls. And Autumn came into my life at a time when I needed her and she needed me, and we became a team from that first day. And we've been a team forever. And this is a team that I can't be a part of. I mean, I'm on the outskirts of the team, but I can't be a team. I cannot make this happen. It's Chad and his group of people in my team Triumph who are making this happen for Autumn. I can't do it. I did a 1.5 walk and she beat me in a 5K race. On the other hand, I had 2 flat tires on the stroller I had that I was pushing somebody, but
She came in a second after me, and I'm like, I came behind.
yeah, she beat me in it. She could probably beat me in if I did a 1.5 mile walk, she could beat me in a marathon. But anyway, and we do challenges to each other regarding my team Triumph. It's like, you know, she's going to get 100 people to be a part of the 5K. So we want everybody out there to register for the 5K. Because if she gets 100 people to run in the 5K with her or walk in the 5K with her, then I will participate in it. I'm not saying how I'm going to participate, but I will participate. So we do those kind of challenges together.
That's cool.
I think, you know, as far as how am I going to be, I will be bawling. I can guarantee that, and I am not a crier at all. This is something that I'm looking forward for her to be a part of, that she can say that she has done it. Nobody believes that she's is trying that. I have always told her to set your goals high. I will help you to get those goals, and if I can't help you to get those goals, I'll find somebody else to do it to help you reach that goal. And I think this is probably one of the highest goals she has set in her life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mean, I can say, because I've seen it in so many of our other families, that, you know, you are a member of the team. It's just a different member of the team. It's behind the scenes. You're challenged to her to be independent and to set goals, and then, you know, she believes in herself because of the support that you've given her. I can say that 100%. I'm sure these guys would agree with me on that. So,
and I've kind of become the mom of my team Triumph in this region, because I just tell everybody what to do, right?
They call her the team mom.
Yep, team mom, yep. So that's my role, as I'm the team mom. But
I gotta get you a shirt. I got my mom one,
Did
by
you?
the way. Yes, I did. So I gotta get you one.
She should have one.
but I just think this is unbelievable, and that she is going to just blossom with this. She is the best that she can be, but she's going to be even better after this thing.
We don't want to make it all about me, though.
No, Autumn doesn't. Autumn wants everyone to know that everybody can reach their goals, and that they can be a part of my team Triumph and and finish every race that they want.
They don't have to win it.
Right, just have to finish it. That's all we're not going to win. That is the one thing that she said to Chad that I will remember, and I state all the time. When he asked her to be his Iron Woman, she said, "You do know I want to win." And he said, "Oh, darling." He always calls her darling. He said, "Oh, darling, I promise you will finish, but we're not going to win." And I thought, good for you to be honest with her, because
that is kind of a challenge. I don't know. That was a huge expectation there, but
That's awesome.
yeah.
Chad, how about you, man? What is it gonna feel like for you?
Oh man, I have been through many finish lines at Ironman, so I know kind of already. I've watched the last several years of my team Triumph coming through, and there isn't a person in the crowd that's not emotional. So I am very worried that it's going to be a breakdown moment for me, which I'm sure it will. I mean, you've experienced it.
You're probably gonna fall down.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I think about it constantly, and I just know like that feeling anyway, going through that chute and the crowd cheering you on, and what, you know, for some people that's the biggest accomplishment of their entire life, and I especially love it towards the end, you know, getting towards midnight. It just gets more and more emotional because you know, you just see all these people coming through. So after 7 days of complete sheer exhaustion and all the emotions running through your head, it's going to be rough. I can guarantee that. It's going to be a cool experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what I also think Autumn's going to take away from this is it's not just the experience of this, it's the people that she has met along the way that have encouraged her along the way and who have basically said you can do whatever you put your mind to. That I think is going to be the thing that lasts her forever. This is going to be a one-day thing and life is going to go on afterwards, but she is always going to know that she has that support system behind her. I see it on a weekly basis with running. No matter, last night was it was going to rain and we all knew it, but everybody went down to do that training run just in case it went on the other side of Rib Mountain. And it's such an awesome thing to see the number of people and how they really do care about the captains.
We don't just, what I like about Ironman is we don't just run and go home. We stay for like a half hour
And socialize, yep.
Yeah, that's what really made, I think, that group expand and just be, it's such a neat group that it is that there's so many connections now, and it's not just the Wednesday nights. I mean, we're all friends. We have a group chat going on. We have, you know, anytime there's any kind of an outing or a cookout, everybody that's on my team Triumph is invited. I mean, it just turned into it's just turned into a big family. And it's,
like we're not gonna be there next week. And they're all like, what?
Yep, they'll miss you, right? Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, everybody. I mean, that's why we show up. I mean, I was running late last night too, and I kept telling everybody, "Don't quite leave yet." I'm like, "I'll be there." And then they said, "Well, there's clouds." It wasn't raining here, but in Wausau, I got up there, and it turned into a complete downpour. But you know, it was one of those things. I'm like, I got stuck doing something for work, so I couldn't escape what I needed to. But yeah, you just do what you got to do to get there. So.
Awesome, love it. A couple more questions. Let's do you know, how do you hope people are impacted from, so you guys obviously have the goal of completing this challenge, going the 1,000 miles, doing the Ironman, crossing the finish line, but you know, the impact was more than you'll ever know. More people will be touched by this. What do you hope people, as they see you, Autumn, what do you hope that they walk away with?
What are you hoping after?
Yeah, somebody watches my story and is like, oh, I never thought of doing an Ironman before. Maybe I could do it. Because if to do it. And with the limitations that she has, maybe I can do it. Yeah.
Great. Mom, how about you?
You know, I would like to see people, especially parents, because parents who have children who have disabilities sometimes think that they're all alone and that they're the only ones who are experiencing that. And I've been experiencing it for more years than I would like to share how old I am. But one of the things that I have always told people is connect yourself and surround yourself with people who care and who really are like you. And I have made some wonderful friendships with some of the parents of the other people who are the other captains. And we share, I have a wealth of knowledge because of age. And so we share while we're standing there, we share like, where do you get funding for this? Or how can you get funding for this? And I have shared that with them. And yet some of them have shared things like simple things that I've been doing for 40 years in a much faster way of doing a tube feeding, or a much easier way, or a much just a simpler way of doing things than going exactly the way you've done it for the last 40 years. So I think as parents, we have really gotten together and become friends. I also have a list of all of their phone numbers of people who are angels who live in the Mosinee community who have said, if you're ever in a pinch, call us. We can't help you, but we'll come there. Do you know what I mean? And I had that in Marshfield. I had people who, if an ambulance came to my house, would have been there to stay with the other one so I could go with whichever one needed to be gone with, but I didn't have that connection. I now have that list of their angels who have said, you need somebody to mow your lawn, just give me a call, I'll come over and do it. That's the kind of thing that I hope other people will find, that if you reach out, there are other people out there who are experiencing the same thing as you. You can watch your captain be the best that they can be, knowing they're being very well cared for while they're out on the run, and yet you can connect with other people, and that's really important. I also see this as a real inclusion thing. People in our community now don't see the lady lives at the corner with all those wheelchairs. She sees the girls. They all see the individuals and not their disabilities, and that's what inclusion is all about. And because it's a mix of young people who are their age, who are non-disabled, along with people who are disabled of their age, it's just the best of all worlds.
That's great. I love everything you said right there. You know, it's the relationships, and we very, very much agree and believe that, if you want to have inclusion, you have to have everyone involved. You have to have people that aren't disabled that are involved in that process and learning from everyone, because they're gaining that perspective as well. So I love it. Chad, how about you, man? What do you hope people get as they see you guys out there and cross that finish line? What do you want them to take away?
Well, like always, I think, the Ironman slogan is anything is possible, and ours is kind of don't stop believing. It's just that. It's like, if you've got the right people behind you, and you've got the right inspiration, and you've got the right people smiling at you, you can pretty much pull off anything you need to. And I mean, I think back to, to some of the stuff that we've done, some of the races we've done, challenges we've done, and, there were some pretty low points, and, just amazing how far you can go if you really want something, that, there's no limits, and, you can do whatever you want.
Awesome. So last question, how can people follow along and support you guys and get involved?
You want to answer that one, Autumn?
Yeah, I have a Facebook, my own personal Facebook, and it's under Autumn F1, and his Facebook page, and then the Northern Service Facebook page.
Right, and people can contribute because, of course, to My Team Triumph, I don't know if anybody realizes, but the carts themselves range anywhere from $5,000 to $9,000 is what it costs for a cart, and it costs our captains nothing to be a part of it, which is just, to me, is awesome, because our people who have disabilities are on a limited budget, and so for them to participate in this, there is no cost whatsoever. So for people who would like to contribute, they can go on the website and contribute to Autumn's and Chad's quest of the Northern Souls and the My Team Triumph event. And I think one of the groups, Autumn is a cheerleader in a competitive cheerleading squad for disabled with UW Stevens Point, and the UW Stevens Point cheerleaders are coming down to cheer her on at the event. And so that'll be awesome to see too, that there are people who from other things that she's participating in, none of them can believe that she's going to be doing this either, but they also didn't think she could fly in a cheerleading event, and she can. It just takes the right people to lift you, and once again another trust issue that she had to overcome. So I would like to see people going to that website and making a decision on whether they want to be a part of it financially or be a part of it down there to support her. I know everybody financially can't do it, but if they can, that is that's something that will help not just Autumn, but all the other captains in the state continue the program that is such a quality program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if one of the biggest things that motivates us and can keep us going like this is the responses we get on social media, whether it's the Northern Souls Facebook page, and we're going to give daily updates on everything that's going on during the whole week, and seeing those comments and seeing that kind of stuff. And I often get my phone ripped away from me at night, because when I'm laying in bed and eating a pizza and drinking Pedialyte, I'm supposed to be going to sleep, and I get my phone literally taken out of my hands by one of my crew guys because they said it's time to sleep. And I try to actually go through it, and I can't respond to everything, but I read pretty much all of it because it's so inspiring, and it's what it just, the next morning when I wake up, that's everything that I think about.
One time I had like 100 messages on my phone from like my friends, family, and people I didn't even know saying, "Hey, I heard you're doing the Ironman."
Yeah, so it's like all of that. It's anytime somebody's following us, and whether it is something that they can do for a donation, it's not always just about that. It's not always about the money thing, but it's just about the support, the community support. How, just follow us, like it, give us some comments, and the other stuff we like to do too is we like to hear people's stories. And we had one that stuck with me big time. Was I had a really, really rough day at Epic 5, and I got a post from somebody that was actually going through chemo treatments, and she was standing there, and I think the post said something like, "Seeing everything you went through makes me know I got this," and it's that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I have no excuses here now. Get on that bike and start going, and whatever. So it takes stuff like that. That's really, really some energy, positive feedback. So
That's awesome. Talk a little bit about the 5K as well, if you could.
Well, yeah, the 5K. So yeah, if anybody can, we're welcoming everybody to this, and especially people that have never done anything like this before. They were afraid to sign up for a 5K. They were afraid this is going to be just a fun walk, fun run type thing on Labor Day. So it'll be the start of day one. They can just go to the northernsouls.org or go to the Facebook page, and you can sign up right through there. It's a $25. If you sign up in the next couple of weeks, we can get you a T-shirt with that too. It's a really cool design. And come out and just support us, just help us, and come meet Autumn. She'll be there, and come meet the rest of the people with my Team Triumph, and meet the whole crew and everybody else that helped get this going. It'd be great.
Great.
Thanks to everyone who supported us over the last few months.
Thank you guys. We look forward to seeing you out on the course, and thanks again for all the support.
Thank you for all the support.